Here's the DGA, Directors Guild of America. About to watch a screening of Anora. And this is Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. Down that a ways is Laugh Factory and a whole bunch of like bars and clubs and all kinds of hip stuff. And then down this way is Fairfax. And then a little beyond that is like the Nightmare on Elm Street houses, the Halloween babysitter houses. Oh, and as well the Editors Guild. They have everybody lined up outside. Back in the old days, they just have everyone lined up in the lobby. What's in the box? What's in the box? And no country for me.
Okay, I'll find it. No, but isn't this life just beautiful? I don't know. I just, when you see a guy in prison, no, because when you see the. Not that this is like a little.
Really fun? No, they're not all fun.
I mean, it is something. Everyone else was fun. We always said it's something. We have placated to so many kids to say, I might ask you because he's the only judge. Because the other judges I'm on it. It's like their version of Shield. Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. This is a really special film. We wanted to get as many people as we could to see it. Excuse me? I can't hear you. You can't hear me? How's that? Is that good?
I can hear you.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. I'm so sorry for the wait. We wanted to get everyone that we could into the theater as possible. It's such a special film. A couple of housekeeping items. Please take a moment to turn off your cell phones, pagers, faxes, anything that beeps or makes noise and might annoy your neighbors. Please also stay afterwards. We'll have a very special Q&A with filmmaker Sean Baker, actress Mikey Madison, and producers Samantha Kwan and Alex Coco. Thank you again for waiting and bearing with us. Please now sit back, relax, and enjoy Sean Baker's Anora.
Good evening. Well, we have a packed house and I don't want to waste any time. My name is Jacqueline Coley. I'm the awards editor at Rotten Tomatoes, and it is my honor to welcome to the stage some of the cast and filmmakers of Anora. First, we have producer Alex Coco, producer Samantha Kwan, Mikey Madison. And director, writer, producer, and editor of Anora, Mr. Sean Lee. So I don't know if y'all know this, but there's actually both theaters, filled out this evening. Some folks are filtering here. Some of y'all can hear us. Sean, you made a movie, sir. Lots of people are into it. I want to start here, though, because I think this is such an interesting part of this story to know that this was not where you really wanted to go after Red Rocket, but this was a story that kind of maybe jumped to the queue for you. So talk about...
Oh, no, it was.
It was.
It was after Florida Project that
It kind of got pushed. Okay, so talk about the journey to get Anora to the screen.
Sure. Well, first off, hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming out. And hello, theater, too. Oh, gosh. Okay. So, Karan Karagulian, who plays Toros in the film, he's been in every one of my films, and we were discussing telling a story in the Russian-American community of Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, and Coney Island back in 07, 08 when we made this film called Prince of Broadway. And we were just trying to figure out what the plot would be for years. I was hearing stories from him. He knew the area and the culture quite well. He's Armenian-American, came over in 1990 from Armenia and landed basically in Brighton Beach selling caviar on the corners of Brighton Beach Boulevard, has a lot of stories about that world, and then is married to a Russian-American, Lana, who plays his wife in the church scene. And so that expression of pain and disappointment is a normal thing I hear. No. I'm friends with Karan. So what we couldn't figure it out for years. We didn't want to tell a Russian gangster story. We wanted to figure out something else. And it was really after Red Rocket and I think my exploration of the world of sex work that got me to this place, because it was just a eureka moment in which we said, okay, what about a young sex worker who marries the son of a Russian oligarch? And as soon as we just came up with that, essentially that high concept idea, we were moving forward.
One of the things that you have to know when you're doing that is that the film rests and dies by an actress being able to bring Annie/Anora to life. I know what, but for the folks that don't know, if you could inform them what made you know that the lady to your left, Miss Madison, would be the one to do that for you.
Yeah, well, I had seen Mikey in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and her performance in that film blew me away. So, as somebody who casts my own films, I just kept her on the bio in the back of my head as somebody I would like to work with someday. Then Samantha and I went to see Scream opening weekend, and we were sitting in the theater down at Sunset 5, and we knew it right there at the moment. It was really a combination of those two performances, and we knew we had to start looking for our Annie. We had just started moving forward with Anora, and Sam and I went out, left the theater, and called her agent, and because we knew it, she was our Annie. And we had a meeting, we connected, I offered her the role, and I said, okay, now give me 3 months and I'll go and write the screenplay with you in mind. And it took me a year, but she was very patient. But it was really wonderful as a screenwriter to be able to precast in a way, because I had already had the story in my head, basically the beginning, middle, and end, but it was really to be able to flesh this story out and to see Mikey in my head and Euro was also precast, as well as Karan. So those 3 actors I had in my mind while I was writing. Those were really nice help.
Mikey Madison, man, this performance. And I know you were a fan of Sean's, and so when you get that call, it's really great, but let's put it out there. Then when he goes and writes the screenplay, you're just there with your thoughts about, oh, I've got to do this now. I'm going to be playing a sex worker. I know he kind of previewed all of the stuff that you would have to do into this. What did you do during that time to help with the prep? Because I know it was a long journey for you, and you came to set armed and prepared, I would say.
Well, first of all, it's so exciting to see such a packed theater like this. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you to you too as well. Hello, everybody in there. Yeah, well, I think that most of my preparation came after I got the script for the first time, because it was able to fill in a lot of the blanks of what I would need to do preparation-wise. When I initially met Sean, I knew very little about the character or story or what we would be creating together. And so over time, I was able to learn more, but I think before I dipped my toe in the water of the preparation, I wanted to have a good idea of her skill levels in certain areas, and just more about who she is. But while he was writing, as it was taking longer, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if this is even going to happen. I was trying not to get too excited because, sometimes things like that fall apart or don't come to fruition. And I loved Sean so much as a filmmaker and was really obsessed with the idea of working with him and possibility of playing this character, that I was very hopeful that it would happen. And obviously we're here now. But after I got the script, I realized how much I would need to do. And so I had maybe about 4 or 5 months where I was able to just take all of the preparation I need to do and separate it and just start small, go piece by piece, trying to put things together, the physical preparation, the emotional preparation, backstory, understanding who she is, and then trying to learn as much Russian as possible, and the dialect. So they were all things that I just collected pieces of her over time, and I think because of the time I took to dive into that, I was able to get to set and understand exactly who she is. But it definitely was intimidating at first.
Also, I love how the people in the audience are doing the same thing I did the first time I talked to you, being like, she is such a good actress, because this is so far removed from what she does on screen. Yeah, clock that, y'all. Samantha, I think one of the things that is most, I guess, amazing, but also difficult working with a filmmaker like Sean is, he is a multi-hyphenate and does a lot on set. And so as a producer, in conjunction with him, I think sometimes maybe there needs to be some, I don't know, how does that work when you know that there's so many things that he's having to juggle? How does that support system and conversation work from the producers? Because I feel there's almost like a second job on top of managing the production.
I think that something that the three of us have is a really good team. And as long as we know each other so well that we kind of can anticipate certain things, but I think that we're really good at seeing what's going on and accepting who everyone is, and we all multitask, and we try to have the best communication possible, So like Sean says, oh, we get to set and Sean's like, oh yeah, I didn't tell you, but there's a helicopter in this scene. And we're like, oh wait, what? And he's like, oh yeah, you didn't know that because it's just right here. But I need a helicopter. And we're like, okay. And then things like that. It's just, we know each other so well. And then we get the helicopter, we move the day, we get the helicopter. No, I think it's just about, when we're also married, which can cause some issues too.
I wasn't gonna say that. They didn't need to know.
But as a result, we've known each other the three of us have known each other and worked with each other for a long time and in different ways. And so over that time, we have a shorthand. We look out for each other, and we just balance things out where we can. And it's kind of like, if there's a crazy thing that happens, then you balance that out.
I love that. The balance thing is interesting because all of you have worked together for so long, but I just think about your last 2 productions where, for folks that don't know, when y'all did Red Rocket, it was a guerrilla shoot. They didn't have permits. They've got, you know, Simon Rex naked in Texas running down oil refineries. And then you come to this one where it's very dialed in. You're in, you know, New York streets or going to Las Vegas Strip. The locations are very demanding, and so it has to be very precise. That is adaptability as a producing crew. How does y'all's style allow for that flexibility through these different types of productions?
I think, well, we always try to keep our crews very small. It's like very intimate, and you know, we can carry as many people as we need depending on the production. Red Rocket was a lot smaller, but regardless though, it's not exceeding, you know, really beyond like 30 people or so on set. So we're able to be very flexible, and we hire and we crew up with people who are able to do that as well. We look for like-minded individuals who are willing to, you know, turn on a dime and help us get a helicopter for the day or whatever we're trying to do. You know, which really just makes the vibe of making the movie just so creative and experimental and open. So I think it's just a bunch of things, but the biggest thing is just hiring or casting the crew, I guess, you know, as we always say, you know, just working with the right individuals.
Yeah, the crew is something that we painstakingly choose every single person ourselves. From the PAs, like every single person, we make sure that we meet them. We make sure that we're all on the same page, because I think that that's where we're like a little family. And we don't have that many people. So not just the three of us, but everyone needs to be on the same page. And we always need to, like, if we need to, you know, change on a dime, like we're supposed to be shooting this today, and Sean all of a sudden says, actually, it's not the right day for this. We're gonna move it. We need everyone to say, okay. We need everyone to have like the same attitude and say, this is what we're making. We're making something from a farmer's market. We're not ordering McDonald's.
I throw a lot of curveballs. Basically, that's it. And they never say no. They always say, we'll figure it out.
I do love that. Good producers, but the proof is in the pudding. Mikey, there's something I wanted to talk to you about that I haven't really seen a lot of people explore, and that is how the costuming is such an integral part of Annie's journey throughout this. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your conversations with the department heads and as far as the costumes and a lot of that stuff. Because the blue dress, I don't want to guess. I think it's Bottega Veneta. I don't know. Maybe I have it wrong. I don't know.
Hervé Leger.
The Hervé Leger. Thank you. Fashion girlie's gonna be mad at me. I was close. Hermes, and then the red scarf. I feel those two pieces of clothing and the subtle touches that those speak to say a lot about Annie and her journey. And I'd love for you to talk about y'all's conversations with them.
Yeah, the costumes, it's such an important part of bringing a character to life, because you can do all the work, all the physical preparation, all the emotional preparation, but once you put the costume on, you're living inside of her clothing and her skin, and the hair and makeup and the tattoos on the back of her legs. All of those little pieces come together to form her as a person. Once you're in a costume like that, like a little silver bikini and like platform pleasers, I don't feel like Mikey, I feel like Annie when she's at work, when she has on her big fur coat that Yvonne buys her. That to me is such a metaphorical, symbolic piece of clothing for the character. So yeah, the blue dress that you brought up specifically is not actually Hervé Leger, it's like some kind of rip-off of Hervé Leger, which I also think is sort of symbolic as well, because those dresses are very expensive. That was actually the costumers, one of the women who worked under Jocelyn. It was her personal dress that she wore to prom, I believe. And I had brought up that I really wanted to wear a bandage style dress. And so she was like, oh, I have one in my closet, I'll bring it, and it fit perfectly. But I had created like Pinterest boards for the character's look, and I shared it with Sean and Sammy, and we all really liked it. And from there, we were able to refine all of the photographs that I had, and they added in their ideas, and then the red scarf is Sean's idea. He really wanted to.
That was in the script, so
Yeah.
that
I
was.
didn't know that. Go
Well,
ahead.
it was an important prop. You know what I mean? She gets held captive with it, so we're gagged with it. So that was something in which we then had to just find the perfect scarf, which came from Hermes.
No.
Oh, sorry.
It came from Chinatown.
We are letting fashion down tonight, but these are great stories.
But Jocelyn Pierce is our costume designer. She did an amazing job. It was just wonderful to, sharing boards, sharing images. We knew that every time we saw Annie, it had to be a unique. What she was wearing had to be unique for each scene. It means something in each scene, and I think they nailed it.
Another thing I really kind of wanted to talk about, I think folks have really examined the final scene, and as they should. It is so powerful. It really, I think, cements the entire narrative. But I'm curious for you, sort of setting up that day. I know, like, you were in the back seat, right? Which I think is crazy. Yeah, just break down that day, because it's such an intimate moment. There's so many different things going on, but it's also really technical, like the camera movement between her face and his face, and I think it really kind of shows why you have to be the multi-hyphenate in this type of endeavor, because that scene only lives in your head.
Yet at the same time, I feel that by the time we shot that scene, because of the communication that was going on set, and everybody being just on the same page and in sync, my cast and crew understood it too. Drew obviously knew what we were going for. My wonderful production designer, Stephen Phelps, made that scene happen with that snow, and there were technical cues, obviously very important emotional cues, a lot going on. It was quite stressful, because I consider endings to be the most important part. So we had to nail it, and so it was just a lot going on. But because of my incredible cast and crew, we got it. Right?
For you, Alex and Samantha, I'm curious, when you're looking at this from a producer standpoint, there's days with the helicopter, there's also days like the day that you're going to shoot that scene. What was, as a producer, the most challenging aspect of this shoot for y'all, and the day that you felt most proud that y'all had pulled it off? Like, I'll either tag team that one or pick one.
Probably that last shot. Just because it was so hard. We had planned on shooting with real snow. There was no snow that winter, so we had to use fake snow. It ended up extending over 3 days, getting the actual shot. Sean just really wanted it to be perfect, as he expressed. So we tried to create that environment in an environment that wasn't even. We couldn't really control it that much. That was the thing. We were shooting on the street. We had to be with pedestrians walking behind the camera. We had our production designer, as he said, on top of the car, shaking the box full of fake snow and just trying to get it perfectly to collect on the window. Sometimes Sean would, we'd be mid-take, and Sean would be like, why is the snow not blowing properly? And we'd be like, there's wind, I don't know, I'm sorry, it was just, it just felt like every time we did it, it was like a miracle needed to happen in order for us to get it. Drew nailing the camera, our AC nailing the focus. There's just, everything just had to come together. So when we finally felt like we got it, and we watched the tap, because we were shooting on film, so we just watched a shitty version of it, off of that we were recording off of the director's monitor. And I don't know, when Mikey nailed that tear, I just breathed such a sigh of relief. It was, it just felt like we had the movie at that point.
All right, and then y'all got to enjoy the magic. It's late. We want to make sure y'all get home to tell everyone to watch this movie, which is in 1,500 theaters. Thank you all for watching. They have to go, so we're going to ask y'all to hold, but thank you all very much.
just got out of the Anora screening. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be some generic thriller, but it's pretty cool. It's basically like a good time, uncut gems, like that high energy, not knowing what's going to happen next. Mike was awesome. She was great. She definitely deserves to be nominated.